Hello, my name is Eric Choi and I'll be presenting Arduino Class 9. So the title of this project is Let's Fan Stuff Out, and our objective is to utilize the serial monitor to trigger the fan. Now, the previous Arduino projects that we have done were very electrical heavy, and we had to rely on the schematics heavily to even wire or do anything with our project. So for this class, I decided to focus less on the electrical side, but focus more on the programming side, so you guys get more in-depth knowledge of how to program with the Arduino IDE. So what materials do we need? First of all, we need the fan tip. The fan tip in your kit should have clear wings, unlike the picture shown, and have a yellow center. And also you need a 366V motor. You can find this in your Arduino kit as well. And of course, you need your Arduino Uno, and then you need your USB cable as well. So let's go to the schematic, or how to wire everything out. So let's wire now. The wiring for this project is very simple because I wanted this project to be coding dependent. So what do you need? You need this 6-volt DC motor right here, and you also need this fan tip. What you simply have to do is with this lead right here, and there's a hole right in the fan, you simply put it inside the hole like this, as so. Next, we have our Arduino right here. The red symbolizes the voltage, and the black symbolizes the ground. So you have to put it in the right ports. For now, let's just put it in port 9. There's a port 9 for the Arduino right there. So let's put the red in the port 9. And for black, there is a ground for black right there. And let's just put it there as so. So that's all you need to do for wiring. Now, get your USB cable, plug it into your computer, and plug it into your Arduino, and you're done for wiring. Thank you. So now that you're finished wiring, pull up your Arduino IDE so we can start coding. Remember, this project is very code dependent, so I want to explain every step of this program in great detail. So let's get started. So in any Arduino code, you start out by initializing your variables. Now, let's start out by saying int motor pin is equals to 9. Now let me explain what this means. Int is a variable type. The different variable types that we learned so far is integer, double, string, and character. Now what does each of these variable types mean? Integer is a number, an integer essentially. It's 1, 2, 3, 17, 18, 20, or any number that you can think of. Double, on the other hand, is a decimal value. So we can say 2.3, 5.7, 4.8, and yada yada so on. And this can also be a whole number, but it will be counted as a double instead. A string variable type takes a literal string. It takes a sentence. So a sentence can be, help, I'm scared. Or, hi, I'm funny. Strings are characterized by 2 double quotations on each side. And on the other hand, a character is 1 letter, and it is characterized by 1 quotation mark. So it can be A, B, D, even a capitalized letter, or a number, single number. So the difference in string and character is these quotations. And now we're in the motor pin. What is motor pin? It's a variable name. Now remember, a variable name can be anything that you want. It can be, help. It can be cat. It can be Eric. It can be headphone. It can be anything. But since this pin number that we're using in the Arduino is connected to the motor, we name it motor pin because it simply makes sense. And this value right here is the pin number that the motor is connecting to, which is 9. If you're connected to a pin number 8, you change it as so. Now let's go to void setup. What is the setup function again? Setup function is literally setting up all your variables and all your pin numbers. We start out by doing the function pin mode, motor pin, output. Now what is happening in this code here? We're calling the pin mode function, and this certainly essentially initializes the variable types and the pin numbers. So motor pin, the variable name, is directly called from this line. And because we named this number motor pin, essentially this motor pin value is 9. So if you wanted to, you could write this line as pin mode 9 output. But since we already initialized it up top, we would rather call it motor pin. Now, the second part can either be an output or input. How come we don't put it as input? Well, this is a very easy answer. The reason is because for this pin, we are trying to exert voltage to the fan so that it spins. So making it input would not make sense. The next line, we will say serial that begin 9600. The serial that begin line essentially brings up the serial monitor and starts it. Now, you probably don't understand what serial is, so just skip this for now and I'll explain more in depth later. Next, we'll go to the loop function. What is the loop function? It loops your code for you, and it is sort of the action part of your Arduino IDE. So we will start by saying if serial.available is greater than 0, and we do as so. What is this saying here? We're saying if a character is available, or if the serial monitor is able to be used, then we can start the code. Now, if you don't remember what an if statement is, again, an if statement works like this. If a condition is satisfied, then we do an action. If it is not satisfied, so for example, if this condition is not working, then we skip this whole parentheses code together. So we call this an if statement, if you didn't know yet. Next, we will start by saying input is equals to serial.read. Now what does this do? This pretty much collects the value that we typed in the serial monitor and stores the value in the variable input. Now since we didn't initialize the input variable yet, we should do so in top by saying character input is equals to 0. So then we write another if statement. If input is equals to 1, we say digital write motor pin low. And we'll say delay 3000. On the other hand, else if input is equals to 2, digital write motor pin high delay 3000. Now let's review what these code lines really mean. What is digital write? We're basically saying exert in this pin number, which is pin number 9, a low voltage, meaning that the fan pretty much won't spin at all if we input 1. However, if we input 2, oops, wrong code right here. If we input 2, we exert a high voltage in the certain pin number and the fan will turn in the most high voltage, meaning that the fan will spin fast. Again, an if statement means that if this condition is satisfied, we do this. But if the input is not 1, we go to the next part, which is else if, and if the input is 2, we do the code right here. Now, what does delay mean? Delay is simply delaying the code by a certain amount of milliseconds. In this case, it is 3000 milliseconds, which goes to 3 seconds. Okay, so now that we are done with this code, let's open up the serial monitor. So the serial monitor is right here. You simply go to Tools, go Serial Monitor, I guess we have to run it first. So let's do this. We'll first say that the board is Arduino Uno and check if the port is the right port. And after that, you plug in your USB port into the code and into your Arduino. And then you upload it. So save your file, of course, beforehand. So press execute. So now that it is almost finished, we just wait a little bit. Right now it is uploading the code to the Arduino. And now that it's done uploading, we open up the serial monitor. You can find this at Tools on top and at the serial monitor button. So this is where we can play with our code. So again, we're reading the input with this line right here. And if we write 1, this is essentially saying that we're already cold enough and we don't need the fan to run. If we write input equals 2 or type in the number 2, that means that we want the fan to run. So let's do so. We'll press 1 and just press send, and the fan won't move at all because it's in low voltage. However, when you put in 2 and run it, the fan will start running. And I'm not sure if you guys can hear this, but my fan is running right now after I press 2. And I apologize, I feel like I did one mistake right here. Instead of pressing else if, you simply want to say if statement right here. So now that we're finished with this part, this is the whole code, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening.